ever since that day. That really impacted me.
Now let me add on to that. So this is something that we discovered during our research that just happened with Surah. This is something that only he knew. His mother didn't know. His brother, nobody knew this. That the police took him when he was 12 years old to the other community. Okay? The police did that without talking to the mother. They took Surah at 12 years old to another community in handcuffs instead of taking him directly to the precinct process. There's something his mother never knew about. Okay. Now, why? We know that you committed the crimes that you did. Okay. What's your reflection on that? What would you say to the victims if you had a chance to?
I would say that what I did was very selfish of me and ignorant, and I would serve every day of this sentence if I had to for them guys to get justice. And no one shouldn't have to go through that ever in life. I know it's violating and very fearful. I know what I did, it can impact them in the wrong way, and that's how victims become the victimizers. And it was negative what I did, and that's why I'm here today, just to impact the world in a good way. Just people sitting on their couch on their Zoom call.
Okay. Now, do you think if you would have had more support opportunities and resources that this all could have been avoided?
Yes, I really think that, because it's like, if I had like more programs in the neighborhood, like our neighborhood, we didn't really have a lot of programs. Like, and it was nothing but like a rec center and like field trips. That was like our getaway. And like,
I'm gonna stop it right there, because I just want to share that with you guys to let you get some insight on that article. So I stopped it right there. The young man was telling his encounter, which set him on the wrong path. And this is true for many of our young men in the inner city, in these urban neighborhoods, that they don't have programs and mentors and guidance to teach them. We're getting them now, but he definitely did a good job showcasing, how Sarah took the wrong road. And, this is kind of the cornerstone of why I'm doing this podcast. Because again, if you was paying attention to the story of, when he's 12 years old, he steals this bike. So the police already done violated his civil rights and his human rights. They didn't have probable cause. They didn't see him do it, but they came back around, circled around, saw that bike out there, and instead of just taking him to the precinct, which was a petty misdemeanor crime, they probably would have let him stay overnight in juvie. The police officer takes him to the victim, lets the victim positively ID him, and implants that, if I had my way, you would be in jail for life. If I had the power to put you in jail for life, you'd be in jail for life. The victim, who was obviously a Caucasian woman, she said he should get in jail for life over a bike. This is a bike. And I'm not excusing his crime or any of his crimes that he committed. When you commit a crime, you're supposed to go to jail. But the reason why I let the interview play out to that point is because I want to set up and demonstrate, the programming and the psychological tricks and games they play with us in this system. So you see, Brandon and Sarah, they were childhood friends, but they ended up taking different paths because they lived in different neighborhoods. So in a sense, when Brandon was doing his project, you know, he's trying to be objective, but at the same time he's saying that I could have been Sarah. I didn't live in his neighborhood, but if I lived in his neighborhood, I probably would have went down the same exact road he went down. And that's what he was, you know, demonstrating in his project. And if you want to go to the and watch the full interview, this is just, I gave you a 45-minute snippet in its entirety. If you go to YouTube, to the Davidson College, to their page, and type in Brandon Harris interview, and it should pop up right on up. Or just type Brandon Harris interview in the Google browser and you know, scroll to the left and click videos, and in that interview that I just shared should pop up. But again, the reason why I want to share the interview is just kind of to contextualize why I'm doing this podcast. Can see how the media tries to portray us in a negative light, even though he was committing all those crimes. Each and every one, they gave him the maximum sentence. And this is from 14 on up into 22. And each time, his mental health is breaking down. He's self-medicating with marijuana. He's exposed to all these elements. And, you know, some of us, you know, that were incarcerated kind of get the propensity to get self-righteous after you rehabilitate yourself. You know, we kind of hard on each other in that respect. Because all the time you don't need tough love. Sometimes you just need some love. You know, everything can't be solved with tough love. Sarah's case obviously didn't have a man in the house, so that kind of attributed to, you know, the road he took in life. Single parent household, wrong side of the tracks. Very, very, very bad neighborhood in Bmore. So again, I'm not excusing or condoning all the crimes that he committed, but you cannot ignore the systemic inequality and the type of psychological programming he was subjected to, being that he was, you know, poor, you know, getting teased and bullied in school. Like all that would just, that snowball effect happens to so many of us. So I'm about to close out because it went way longer, but I just wanted to, you know, let Brandon and Sarah tell the story because they told it better than I could ever put into words. And, you know, just leave you with some final thoughts. If your city has a jury, I forget the name of the program, but it's like a jury watch where you can go to like trials and stand in for you know, victims, not victims, but people getting charged and accused for crime if the family isn't present. If, like, you know, if somebody's getting sentenced and there's no family and friends there, because that looks bad in the eyes of the jury. And as we all know, they say a jury of their peers, but none of those people in that jury box look like us. And they're making snap judgments that can alter the rest of a person's life based on, you know, how they appear. So bam, you got them sitting up there, oh, you know, they're a piece of feces, Like, they're so bad, their family don't even want to be here to support them. So that's how that looks. It looks bad when you go to trial and you don't have anybody to come, sit on your behalf. So that's something we all need to work on in our community to, be there for each other in that respect. Because this justice system is unjust, and the system isn't flawed. It does what it was designed to do. We didn't really even have a court system until after slavery. They freed us, and then they made it a crime to be poor. Didn't give us our 40 acres and a mule. But yeah. So his story is just, one of many. And not just, African American males. This happens to African American females as well. I just read another article. A young lady, I didn't take her name down. I'll punch it up later. I might do that next week, because I went way over my time limit I set for myself. It was only supposed to be an hour, but I didn't know it was going to take that long to get to the plot. But I just read an article where African American black woman got abducted by the police. They sicked the K-9 unit on her. So allegedly it was about some hair weave. I seen it in the shade room, and I normally don't, watch anything in the shade room, but the K-9 like literally just tore her human hair out of her scalp. Like, the dog dragged her by her hair basically, and it was showing all the injuries, and it was really vicious. But that's their perception of us when they come in contact with us. How we appear visually, the type of content you post online, the way they portray us in the media, songs, television, movies, all this impacts the human psyche, impacts our psyche, it impacts people outside of black culture's psyche. If that's all the frames of reference they're given about us. If that's all the frames of reference we're given about us. So that's why I'm doing this podcast, to provide positive frames of reference. So I'm going to close out, leave it here. This is a live episode, but when I share it to all my platforms, please download this episode of the Narrative Podcast and all previous episodes of the Narrative Podcast, so I can bring you more quality programming, so the sound clarity can be better. I can buy like equalizers and all that, because right now in this audio platform, I'm paying a monthly fee out of my pocket. So I'm not making too much, but I'm getting the ball rolling. I also got a personal poetry blog called Halsey's Poetry Corner. It's at www.mrhalseysblogs.com. To support me, just please visit it and leave a comment, share it, follow the blog. All that. So I come to you next week, or this weekend, on Saturday. The segment will be much shorter. It was a deep dive because I had to let you hear the story in its entirety to get the full context of it. So, I'll see you this weekend. This has been another edition of the Narrative Podcast. Halsey Allen signing off. Download this episode.